My Lords, the sitting of the House will begin shortly. I thank you for your patience. My Lords, the hybrid sitting of the House will now resume. I ask members to respect social distancing. Questions on an answer to an urgent question asked in the House of Commons on Monday 14th June. The deteriorating situation in Ethiopia. I call Lord Collins of Highbury.
My Lords, the new data by the World Food Programme has shown that a total of 350,000 people in areas are difficult to reach. What steps is the government taking to support humanitarian access? On the peace process itself, last week the US representative to the UN called for the Security Council to meet publicly to discuss the crisis. Could the Noble Lord tell us what steps is the UK taking within the Security Council to help bring the conflict to an end?
Well, it's great to see him on the woolsack, and we all wish him well, certainly from my perspective, the first occasion. Coming to the substance of the question by the Noble Lord Collins, on the second point he raised, Lord acknowledges we made a specific statement on this during our presidency. We have made sure that we keep tabling the issue under any other business to keep focus of the Security Council. On his earlier question, we are working with UN agencies on the ground, including supporting additional funding to ensure the likes of...
I now call Lord Chidgey.
My Lords, Ethiopia has made huge strides as a developing nation in which relationships with the UK have played a significant part. And today I actually wear the tie presented to me when at the African Union in Addis Ababa by the chairperson of the African Union Commission, Dr. of the appalling war and famine in the 1980s. We've donated 16.7 million in response to this crisis, but how does this relate to the huge cuts in UK aid? Will Ethiopia's elections next week offer a solution? They won't be held in Tigray. The EU have withdrawn their observation mission, and the team...
On the Noble Lord's first question about support from the UK, we've actually given 47.7 million since the start of the crisis. My honourable friend, Minister for Africa, announced an additional 16.7 million yesterday. On the political crisis, the Noble Lord is right. Of course, there's an election due. The challenge, of course, remains many parties from within the door access for full party and full participation during the elections. I think there will be little move on the political settlement until the election has been held.
I now call Lord Rowbotham.
Lords, I last visited the beautiful country of Ethiopia about 18 months ago, just before the pandemic. And now we find 1/3 via the CSSF, the Conflict, Stability and Security Fund. So how much influence has our huge aid programme given the UK in encouraging peace and stability in the region? And did our aid allow any money from the Ethiopian government to be diverted into armaments from health and education?
I believe that it's had an impact on the ground. 1.2 million children gained a quality education. We continue to have a positive impact, but of course we support aid programmes in country, but equally the political situation is dire and we need to reassess what level of support we can give over.
This is clearly a man-made crisis which could only be solved. Can the Noble Lord, the Minister, elaborate on what the African Union are doing to foster a rapprochement between...
With all key partners, including key players within Africa. The Minister for Africa has discussed the situation in Tigray with the AU's Peace and Security Commissioner. The Foreign Secretary has also discussed the situation with President Kenyatta of Kenya and PM Hamdok of Sudan, and will continue to work with African partners as well as others.
Would comment on whether Her Majesty's government has been able to validate allegations that white phosphorus was used against civilians in Tigray, despite the categorical denial of the Ethiopian government.
The Right Reverend Prelate raises of that very incident.
Baroness Gowdy.
My Lords, we know the effect that malnutrition has on babies and children from the time a baby's gestation right through to the child's becoming the age of 3. This also effect that is on the ground is the correct food, particularly for babies and toddlers and for pregnant mothers.
So our UK aid is focused amongst various priorities on that very issue, and 5.6 million children under 5, women and girls, continue to be reached.
I see from the UN report that the
Special Rapporteur on Human Rights in Eritrea has been unable to get into the country. What is the government doing to try and get things sorted out on the ground? 75 years of independence in Eastern continent. What is HMG thinking they can do to help?
My Lords, I won't agree with my noble friend over the fact that it's a failed continent. I think there's many successes across Africa, but as I've alluded all earlier, we're working with key partners.
Bolton of Liverpool.
Interest as co-chair of the All-Party Parliamentary Group on Eritrea, which will be addressed this afternoon by the United Nations Special Rapporteur on Eritrea and focus on Tigray. How does the government intend to respond to his findings?